Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Another Day, Another Album. Now, if you saw yesterday's video, spoiler alert, I already know what this album is going to be, but in case you needed proof that the random number generator did it. Alright, so today we're talking about the rapper spoken word artist Naethan Apollo and his sophomore album Tales from Cazilor. I've mentioned him on this page before a few times previously. His first album, Hello World, was a great introduction to him as an artist, using a uniquely earnest delivery for some of the sweetest lyrics that I've ever heard, or the line, "I'll put this crack in your heart, call me Ronald Reagan." That line still fucking breaks my brain. I learned from his content on TikTok that the fantasy world depicted on the cover of that album not only had an entire map dedicated to fleshing out the world, but that his forthcoming album would take place in said world. I was definitely interested in seeing where this was going to go, as I've seen some funny D&D content from him, and I thought it'd be interesting to hear him kind of express that side of himself musically. Fun fact, I actually wrote the review for this the day that it came out, so this review will be a little more of a first impressions than a review that's had a lot of time to sit. This album is deceivingly short, but for what's here serves both as a story in the fantasy world that Naethan has created, and a great continuations of the sounds that he explored on his previous album. The story on the album is a simple one: a group of guards on night watch, with Apollo being the young rookie guard joining the old blood on a quiet night on a historically significant day. I'm going to leave the plot at that as to not spoil, because, spoiler alert, you should listen to this album. Know that the songs are led to by a character's words or story leading into the subject matter of the song. The songs have a historical parallelism that works both in a more modern setting and the fantasy universe of the album. In that way, it kind of reminds me of Splendor and Misery. The first full song is Cannibal, which is a good preview of what's to come on this album, with his high-pitched delivery of lyrics about escaping a relationship that he describes as cannibalistic. The imagery is pretty gruesome to be delivered so smoothly. The acting shown in Naethan's performance really sells the song. Night Watch sees Naethan explore an aspect of love rarely discussed: the love for your friends. The song starts with his friend asking him if he would die for him, and the riff-laced pop-punk instrumental soundtracks explain exactly how he would. It's a very touching song. You're Not Welcome has a killer bass line, honestly even better than Cannibal in my opinion, as Naethan thinks of how you're not really welcome around these parts. I think his delivery here works in a kinda too charming to fuck with way, but this may not come across to everyone, but the killer instrumental and the huge chorus really do sell the song very well. A funky-ass guitar begins Do What I Gotta, which leads to a boastful song from Apollo that sounds like the beginning of Baby Driver, and then it's a perfect anthem just for you walking around when you're just fucking feeling yourself, and you're just feeling like the top shit. I Don't Get Sleep is another rocker with a catchy melody and some great riffs about thoughts that keep Naethan Apollo up at night, from outside judgment to his own inability to sleep. But this is another song with a great performance. Summer Night and Domita is when the album's narrative meshes most with the skits, telling the story of Apollo, referring to Naethan's character in the fantasy realm, and his escape from a day of destructions. The story is set up to be kind of a dark day of death, but this absolutely jaunty bop continues the fast-paced pop-punk instrumental. A great closing song for the album. And also I do want to mention in particular the final track, Scene 7, for its gorgeous instrumentation and a great closing monologue from Apollo, closing the album. This album was once again earnest and performed amazingly, but broadened its scope and scale for a much larger project than the first, while still only running about the same length. I do wish this album was a little bit longer, both in the story and musically, as all of these songs are under 3 minutes, but I think that speaks to the great talent on Showcase here. This is one of my favorite albums in this year, and who knows, I may be talking about it come year-end list time. Tales from
Cazilor
is an 8 out of 10 and currently sits at number 138 on the list. Be sure to give Naethan Apollo a follow below, and be sure to let me know your favorite track from him in the comments. I'll see y'all for the next review. Pieces.